Tagine, a very famous North African stew. There are so many different varieties, chicken, lamb, or vegetable, and that's what I'm going to be cooking today. Tagine usually refers to the actual vessel that you're going to be cooking the stew in, but instead of cooking it in that classic vessel, I'm going to show you how to cook it in the 12-piece stackable set, which not only goes into the oven, it also goes onto the stove top. So it's super versatile. It also comes with a detachable handle, so it's going to make life a lot easier when cooking. We're going to start with the roasted vegetables in the oven. You want that oven to be quite hot. So this pan does go in the oven. It's quite a large one, 26 centimetres, so I can add loads of vegetables to this. I have some pumpkin, and you can see that I've cut it into large chunks. To this, I'll add some fennel. You can add all different types of vegetables to this. I love the aniseed flavour of fennel. So we're going to cut this into 4. And I love fennel because as it roasts in the oven, you get a beautiful flavour, but it also is going to hold its shape as it slowly cooks in the onions later on. So I'm just going to trim the tops off. Okay, and if you get large chunks like this one is here, you can also cut it a little further down. What I do want to do is keep the core in just so it holds its shape. So that can go into our pan, and I'm going to add one more chunk. And it's okay if the vegetables are poking out. I kind of want that because as it cooks at a high heat, it'll caramelise. So we'll just move that to one side. Also, to make this into a really hearty stew, some potato. So 1 Desiree potato, skin and all, straight down the middle in half. And then we'll cut that into quarters. We want everything to be roughly the same size. And for a pop of colour, some capsicum, a red capsicum. We're going to cut this into chunky strips. Great. And then we'll just poke that in and around the dish. All right, we need some oil on this, a good glug of extra virgin olive oil, just in and around, okay, and a good pinch of salt. Now, I'm not adding any spices at this stage because it's at that high heat. I don't want those spices to burn, so we're just roasting those veg. So into the oven, and they're going to cook until they're just tender. All right, while they're cooking in the oven, let's get onto the onions. Now, this is a super important part. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to quickly cook the onions. You want them to cook long and slow so we really develop the flavour. Again, another good glug of olive oil. We want a good couple of tablespoons just to cover the base of this sauté pan. To this, some red onions. And that's not sizzling at this stage, and I don't want it to sizzle because we want them to cook long and slow. Some garlic and some coriander. Now, I like to use whole coriander seeds that I've just crushed slightly, so you've got a little bit of texture there. Some salt. And now this is going to cook for about 10 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on it and constantly stir it until it's caramelised, soft and almost jammy. All right, these onions have cooked down nicely and vegetables are out of the oven. See how caramelised they are? Just right. So let's add some more spices. Just a little hint of turmeric, just for some colour, about ½ teaspoon, along with some ground cumin and ground ginger, which is quite classic in North African food. Another classic flavour in a tagine is preserved lemon. Now, what I've done is taken the flesh out and I've finely chopped the skin. That can go in. You only need 1 to 2 wedges of it because it is quite a strong flavour. One vegetable we haven't cooked yet is our zucchini. Now, zucchini takes no time at all to cook, so that's why I'm leaving it to this stage. So that can go in along with some chickpeas. That's just 1 can of chickpeas. I've drained and I've given them a really good wash. And we'll just coat everything in that delicious spice mixture. It smells so good. A little splash of water just to get it extra saucy. To this, some olives, so that pop of saltiness, some green olives, and we need some sweetness, and dates are used quite a lot too. So what I'm doing is just breaking them in half and then adding them so everyone gets that pop of sweetness. Okay, the seeds have been removed. You could change this up and use some apricots or some peaches, completely up to you. Now that that's coated, we can add our gorgeous vegetables. Now this has cooled down slightly, and I just want to be really delicate with our vegetables. They're almost cooked. They've just got a little bit of give in them, just so they can cook further in this delicious sauce. So what I like to do is just fold everything together. It's okay if some of it breaks up because it's just going to thicken up that sauce. And look at those colours. Folding everything, coating in that delicious sauce. And now what I like to do is just let everything mingle and marry together. So the lid can go on. And we're going to cook this for a further 5 to 10 minutes. It really doesn't need long at all, just on that low temperature. That gives me enough time to make a quick couscous. So I've just got some hot water here. I'm just placing it into a pot and in with 1 cup of couscous. This is just instant couscous. We'll measure that out. And whenever I'm making couscous, you can add extra flavours to it like butter, or just keep it really simple, just like I'm doing today, salt and olive oil. So couscous goes in a pinch of salt and some olive oil. And you want to cover that just to trap all that steam. So just give that a shake just so all that couscous is completely submerged in the liquid. And this pot comes with a plastic lid so that can go on. We'll let that steam while that finishes cooking. All right, our couscous has swelled up nicely. It's ready to go. Let's have a look at the tagine though. Ooh, that looks so good. It is going to be super tasty with all those different flavours marrying together. So I'm just going to plate up a portion. Couscous, as always, you want to just use a fork to break up those grains. You don't want it to be clumpy. So slowly, slowly use your fork just to break it up and fluff it up. If you like, you could add some other ingredients to this, like coriander and parsley, and then some toasted almonds, but I'm going to keep that for the top. So we'll start with the base of our fluffy couscous, and we'll place this onto our plate. I'm going to make a really big, generous serving of this. Look at that. And almost make a little indent in the centre so we can add a lovely stew. We'll grab a combination of potatoes, the capsicum, look at that, big and chunky, some pumpkin. The pumpkin's almost breaking up and collapsing, which is what I love because it becomes super soft and sweet. And don't forget all of those dates and olives, the fennel. North African food, it's generous food, and it just shows how vegetables can be the absolute hero here. You don't always need meat. This meal in itself is a wonderful example of that. All right, for some crunch, those almonds over the top. Because we don't have enough colours there, I'm going to add some herbs, just coriander and parsley, roughly chopped, and a sprinkle over the top. And there you have it, a wonderful tagine showing off beautiful vegetables. It's hearty, it's healthy, it's delicious.